Hello, everybody. Welcome to the first installment of Ghibli Month. Only hosted here on Anime Guardian. I'm your host, Jay, and today we're going to start with a very, very special video, Grave of the Fireflies. Now, before I get into this, I want to explain that I will be doing all 22 films from Studio Ghibli within this time frame. So you will see many edits with multiple shirts like this on, because I'm doing multiple videos at a time. They will all be listed in a playlist below. Now with that being said, Grave of the Fireflies. So it literally starts off in the middle of World War II, or more like the end of World War II, as a young man dies on the street. As he dies, he meets his sister in the afterlife, and they look back on what brought them to that point. I don't really think this is giving too much away, because this literally happens in like the first 2 minutes of the anime. It literally starts off with them dying. So there's that. How's the story? Well, let's really look at Sayete and his sister Sisako lost their mother due to a horrific bombing fire. They go live with their aunt, but when that really doesn't pan out the way they want it to, they try to go live with their aunt and her family. When that really doesn't pan out, they try to live on their own. There's so much to really get into this movie. First off, I love how this shows the true and harsh realities of the wars, especially during that time. You get sucked into these two characters and their lives and their emotions and what they're going through. They run the entire gambit of emotions, everything from fear, happiness, loneliness, sadness, loss, and even especially death. Another unique thing that they do is they sometimes run in and out of the afterlife. That's a nice little touch. It's been done before, but I would argue it's not to this extent. Also, I don't get an anti-war type feel from this show. Instead, I see it more as a pride versus not pride sort of thing. When the young man finds out that the war is over, he's upset, but not because the war is necessarily over, but because they lost. Which is a kid's mentality, you could argue, but still, I don't know. It's unique. And something that you don't see a whole lot nowadays. The whole movie is trying to find a place for him and his sister to survive. But actually, it's his pride and his refusal to accept that he needs help sometimes that ultimately is his and his family's downfall. The animation was gorgeous for the time period. You know, this came out in 1988, and as such, it just doesn't hold up to modern animation. That's not really its fault. You know, we use CG so much, 2G is almost foreign. But the backgrounds are gorgeous. The animation's gorgeous. Does it hold up for the time for nowadays? No, but it's not as bad as some other shows that were coming out in that time, and it's definitely not the worst that Studio Ghibli has ever came out with. The music was done and composed by Michio Mamamiya. The soft melodies really set and fit the scenes that they are in. And like I always say, that it makes, if the scene can make you feel something, and then it's really worth kind of watching. You know, the music is meant to help you understand, relate, and feel for the characters and their situations in a way that most people you wouldn't normally do, especially with the difference in, you know, reality and CG. Now, when it comes to the sub versus dub debate, I'm going to go with the sub on this one. The dub will do you fine. There's far worse dubs in the world. But the one issue I have with the dub is specifically the actress that plays Sesako. I get that she's a child, and child characters are very, very hard to do, especially in this day frame. You need to have them be cute but not annoying, relatable and understandable but not come across as overbearing. This is kind of hard to do, and with Sesako in the English dub, she was annoying almost to the point of full loathing. Sesako in the sub is also kind of annoying, but it's a little bit easier to dive through it. So the Pride versus anti-Pride thing can get a little annoying as well. I'm not going to sit here and say that it can't. If you've heard the story once, you've heard it a few other times, unless you're really digging deep into it. And like I said, I very well could be digging way too deep into it. I do get what the message is trying to convey. I do. However, they literally beat the message over your head, like in a way that so many others do. And the one thing about it that makes it great is you can actually look at it with a deeper vibe and understand it in a different way than other shows allow you to do, which is why I think this is a head shoulders above everything else. Another issue that I have, though, is as far as the sound production is concerned, the music really didn't do a whole lot for me. Now, my rules on music. I have to have at least one song that I can listen to on its own that I would listen to personally. And this, for all its beauty and all its wonder, didn't have that for me. Now, that's me personally. You guys might like the OST. I just couldn't. The only other issue I have of record is the ant. Now, the ant herself is very, very annoying to me, even worse than Sesako, because she's annoying on both dubs, both the Japanese dub and the English dub here in the West. She is awful in both. So, and when you first see her, she's very, very supportive, very, very sweet, and very, very loving and kind, and brings them into the family and do all this. But literally in like the next 2 or 3 scenes, she's calling him lazy, wishes to no longer care for him, clearly favors her family over them, and even says that he's a good for nothing. Meanwhile, he's trying to take care of his sister and keep himself afloat. Now, this is one of the main reasons why they decide to leave in the first place. On one hand, I can commend them. On the other hand, that's where the pride versus anti-pride thing goes into. You need to decide when you are ready to claim that independence and when you are ready to just let someone help you. And this movie, I think, made a good attempt, and it was perfect looking on paper. But execution is just as important, and I've said this time and time again. The execution wasn't even terrible. It was just its message that we've heard over and over and over again. So thank you guys. Do I recommend Grave of the Fireflies? Absolutely. Even with the message beating over your head, even with Sesako and the ant, there's so much beauty and so much you could really, really, really read into this movie that's really all you need for sheer enjoyment. I can't give it a buy it rating, but I will give it an absolute you must rent, and if you rent, then buy. I love Ghibli, and it's a proud collection on my shelf way over there. So So thank you guys. That will end this episode of Ghibli Month. Guys, this is going to be kind of a thing I'm doing from now on. I know that a few weeks ago I said I was going to do it as an actual review, but I felt like this would be a better way to convey my opinions. If you guys have a particular style that you want me to, or a particular like genre or whatever you want me to review, please let me know. Put it down in the comments. I read them always. Leave a like if you like this video, and if you did leave a like, hit that subscribe button. That way you guys can be updated when I make new videos. Do you really want to know when I update my videos? It's a little secret. Here. Hit that notification bell as well. Thank you guys. And this has been Anime Guardian. I have been your host, Jay, and I'll see you guys in the next review. Later.